Yama.
What is it? It's like you know, we have 10 commandments. We have Yama, we have 5, and the second one, Niyama, is another 5. So it's like your 10 commandments. The first 5 tell you to abstain from certain things. To abstain, that means not to do these things, or to be a certain way. So the first one talks about to abstain from violence, which is ahimsa. In other words, practice non-violence. Now, I will cover them in depth after I run through the 8 limbs of yoga, right? Let's first know what the 8 limbs are. Second one is truthfulness. So we have to always speak the truth. Satya, good girl. The third one is asteya, non-stealing. See similarities there with the 10 commandments? And the fourth one is brahmacharya, which means a lot of people say it's celibacy, but it's not celibacy alone. It could be for the monk. Yes, it should be for the person who's decided to take that path. But it actually means continence. It actually means moderation. The word Brahma means God, Charya means student. So the real meaning of brahmacharya is really be a student of God. And if you are a student of God, you will practice moderation. Okay? Yes, you will be balanced. Then we have aparigraha, which is non-greed. Look at what's happened to our world today. Why are we all suffering? Credit crunch, etc. Climate changes, etc., etc. What's the greatest thing we're doing in this world today? Greed. 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 Banks. Greed. Greed. Big companies. Greed. Greed. I was reading a lovely magazine the other day called Resurgence that one of my students in England very kindly gifted to me as it comes monthly, I think. And it's written by I never read much by him, but I've been told that he would like to come next year, so I thought I'd invite him next year. His name is Satish Kumar. He speaks all over the world about how we can make our earth spiritual, ecologically. And then there was a very interesting article on money. You know, beautiful how money should be made and how it's been abused by the big corporations and by the banks. And because of all the greed there, it hasn't filtered down to everyone, the wealth, whereas we should all be wealthy. But anyway, it's a brilliant magazine called Resurgence if you are interested in the ecology of the earth and the world and the economy. Money is a beautiful thing if you know how to control it. It is a nightmare if it controls you. So learn how to control energy like money. So that's aparigraha. Niyama are observances, things we need to practice. Things we need to practice in our life. The first one, who remembers?
Contentment.
Purity. Practice purity in your thought. Practice purity in your life. Be really clear. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And keep your body clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness. The second one, santosha, which means practice contentment in your life. The third one, tapas. It means accepting pain without causing it in return. You stop the wheel going round and round because somebody hurts you, you hurt them back. Somebody hurts you, you hurt them back. It's a vicious cycle. It becomes pain, more pain, more pain. Here it says, stop it. Accept pain, but don't cause it back in return. Then you stop the cycle. How do you put out a fire? With water, not with more fire. Right? Same thing. So the next one is swadhyaya. I love this word. Study of spiritual books. Keep your mind elevated all the time by reading positive things. If you don't believe in a religion, no problem. Just read positive things, beautiful things. I told you, did I tell you the story about the bowls and the beggar that I heard on the radio the other day? I told them yesterday. I was listening to the radio while I was driving, and they wanted to see who were the most generous people in the world, so they planted a beggar. And he had all different bowls, and each bowl had a different religion on it. Buddhism, Catholicism, Christianity, anyway, all of it, Hinduism. And then at the end, he had atheists. At the end of the day, do you know which bowl was the most full? Atheist. And he was so surprised, and they were also surprised at this study. Interesting. So, never judge a book by its cover. Sometimes the atheists have the most biggest parts. They just don't say the word God, but they love. Okay, so never judge a book by its cover. I thought it was a very interesting story when I heard it over the radio. Nowadays they tell nice stories, huh? So that is Swadhyaya, study of spiritual books. Read as much as you can. And finally, the last one is Ishwara Pranidhana, which means surrender to God. In other words, surrender to the highest, surrender to the divine, surrender. You know, in our life, all the misery that is caused to ourselves, I believe we cause our own miseries by our own actions, is because we want to control. We want to control the way people think. We want to control the way people act. We want to control, we want to control, we want to control. And this control makes us sick. It makes us so sick, and it makes people sick. Sometimes things just can't be fixed. You just can't fix things. And you just have to accept it is the way it is. And that is the surrender.